Master class boshlanadi hozir. Da.
Is Rainer Maria Rilke, a German poet who is decently translated into English, but as poetry goes, a lot of poetry cannot really be translated. It can be, you can say what the words are, but you cannot really translate the poetry. So Rilke is very important to me. And Rilke is somebody I read extensively before I made the film Wings of Desire, and the idea that there's angels in the sky over Berlin owes a lot to Rilke, because a lot of his poems are populated by angels. Thank you. Quotes quite often in his work. And Martin Heidegger is the philosopher that shows up in several instances in his work and that he's quoting also. So, I mean, you probably realized that the film has a lot to do with German history of the 20th century, but especially after the war. And of course that is something that connects Anselm and me very much, because he was born in a couple of months before the war started. He was actually born in a hospital during an air raid of the city, and his mother had Anselm as a baby during an airstrike in an underground hospital. So he, in a way, came into the world but be with other people, but also very strongly remain who they are. And she has very high hopes that he's the man who she saw in her dream. And we did see the dream in which he appeared, by the way, in the course of the film. So it's pretty much a very romantic declaration of love that she hopes that the two of them will be together their entire life and will become as one. And that's what she refers to as lonely. Not mingle with everybody else and dissolve, so to speak.
Thank you. I think it was a problem with the subtitles, actually. It was lonely.
So
This is not exactly a question. I just really wanted to talk to you. So, after observing a couple of your films, I've seen that your characters teach us how to abstract beauty or happiness from little things in our life. For example, in this film, we can see the angel is being happy just with a cup of coffee. And Alice in the Cities, we can see a Sunday ice cream is defining happiness. So, how do you do it?
Oh, I'm dreaming of ice cream right now. In Perfect Days, you'll see a man who is completely happy. He doesn't own much. And he represents more my thinking today than, let's say, the ice cream or the coffee in Windsor. He's a grown-up man and he has a lot of experience, but he decided to live a life in simplicity. And he doesn't have television and he is not on the internet, but he's very happy, and maybe because of that. So he defines happiness as having all you need. And the problem in our society is we all have more than we need, and having more than we need is not making us happy. The more we have, the unhappier we become. Unfortunately, there's a strange correlation between possession and stuff you have, and the more stuff you have, the more you still want. So I think a lot of us could probably be happier if we didn't have all that stuff. And stuff is a burden. I think it's good to be happy with little. Advice, go for the ice cream.
Sir, yes, right.
Oh, there. Sorry.
Sir, what do you think about the restored version of your films? Like, is it the best way of presenting your film?
Yes, I understand what you mean. The film you just saw has been restored. We worked on it for a year and a half. It was the most complicated film to restore because it was initially shot, the first part of it, in black and white negative, and the second part, the last part, in color. And in order to combine the two in one film, in one celluloid film, because at the time it was before the digital age, we had to combine the two. And it was a very complicated process to combine black and white scenes and color scenes and have transitions from one to the other. So it meant that the print, all prints that were released for the film, both at its premiere in Cannes, but also for the rest of the world, all for 20 years, the prints were 6 generations removed from the negative. 6, there's a negative, then there's the first print, but the first print cannot be made because you cannot print from black and white and color, so you have to combine it. So anyway, it's a long process of duplicate internegatives and interpositives, and so the print that was seen on screen was 6 times copied until we could make prints. That meant we lost a lot of resolution and a lot of contrast. So my DOP was a very old man. He was 80 years old, and he was the declared master of black and white. He made magnificent black and white films in the 30s and 40s, like the film that is considered by most film historians as the most accomplished film in black and white is The Beauty and the Beast, and he shot that. So his black and white looked like incredibly rich and beautiful. But at the end of the process, the entire film had to be printed on color negative. And Henri Alicant, that was his name, was very, very sad that his beautiful black and white in the end had to be printed on color negative, because then it always has a little tint red or blue or sepia. So at the time that was the best we can do, and the film was not the most beautiful version of itself that it could be. Now with the digital restoration, we still had all the negative, and we could transfer to and scan the negative of the black and white and of the color. And actually what you see in there is a very, very good representation of the negative that actually ran through the camera. So this is first generation. So the black and white looks as crisp and beautiful as Henri wanted it to be. And I think in the heaven of directors of photography, he was dancing with joy when we saw the first DCP. Some contemporary directors a lot, but my favorite are definitely at the end of the film. Maybe you didn't see it because it was part of the credits. The film is dedicated to three archangels of cinema, to Yasujiro Ozu, François Truffaut, and Andrei Tarkovsky. And there is the answer to your question. Have I made an anti-capitalist film? Well, I think all my films are anti-capitalist.
Good note to end this seminar.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good note
Oh,
to
the
end.
very, very, very last, quick.
Okay, one last question.
Hello, sir. I have noticed that in all of your films, the philosophical heights of children and their innocence are shown. And I want some few words about that. And also, you have to say something about the use of music in your films. Thank you.
It's a whole different thing to make a film with only adults, or to make a film where there's a child, a boy or a girl in the film. It's a whole different thing. The entire crew is a different thing if you have a child present in your film. Everybody becomes different. Everybody is nicer. Everybody welcomes the child and adopts their own childhood while they're making a film. So making a film without a child in the cast is painful because people become their usual self, and that can be nasty and stupid. And people are nicer versions of themselves in a crew if there's a child. So I can only recommend it. If you make a movie, have a child in your cast, you'll have a great crew. And music is a long question, and I tell you only one thing: if I had to make a film without music, I would consider it and probably not make it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Last question.
Thank you, Bina.
Yeah,
Thanks a
we'll
lot.
see you again